Well, there it is. The smoke has erupted into wildfire. The whispers have erupted into war cries. And now the Cleveland Browns have made what may be remembered as one of the most bewildering, divisive, and catastrophically short-sighted quarterback decisions in franchise history. Shedeur Sanders has been traded to the New Orleans Saints. Let that settle in. After dominating training camp, after outshining every quarterback on the depth chart, after orchestrating the second-team offense like a seasoned general and dismantling Cleveland's starting defense like a human cheat code in cleats, Shedeur is gone. Not because he wasn't qualified, not because he didn't earn it, but because the Browns simply couldn't get out of their own way. And just like that, Cleveland may have forfeited not just a quarterback, but the locker room, the fan base, and whatever credibility they had remaining in their quarterback development reputation. If you're here for the real story and the raw, uncut truth you won't find on highlight reels, subscribe now, because this saga isn't over. It's just entering its most explosive chapter yet. Let's unpack it. Shedeur Sanders was marketed as a project pick, a fifth-round selection with social buzz, some collegiate swagger, and perhaps a developmental backup role in his future. But from the first snap of camp, that narrative collapsed. Shedeur didn't just flash potential, he radiated command. He operated with precision, made veteran-level pre-snap adjustments, and flat-out outclassed Dylan Gabriel and Joe Flacco on every significant metric. Even against Cleveland's first-string defense, this was a quarterback moving the chains, commanding protections, elevating the huddle. So what did the Browns do? They benched him. They buried him. Then they traded him. Why? Let's not sugarcoat it to systemic dysfunction. Reports indicate head coach Kevin Stefanski clashed with Shedeur from the outset, not over performance, but because Sanders didn't fit the system. Translation? Stefanski wanted a compliant plug-and-play puppet, a quarterback who obeyed the playbook without deviation. Shedeur brought his own tempo, his own reads, his own leadership energy. And in Berea, that wasn't just threatening, it was inconvenient. Instead of adapting the scheme to fit elite talent, the Browns exiled the talent to protect a system that hasn't proven effective in years. Now the locker room is fractured. Veterans like Jerry Jeudy, Amari Cooper, and David Njoku had reportedly begun requesting more reps with Shedeur. Myles Garrett, quietly vocal about Sanders' presence. Even O-linemen were pushing for more reps with the rookie. Why? As one anonymous player allegedly put it, he actually gives us a chance. But the front office, silent, Stefanski, repeating the same tired lines in every press conference. We're rotating guys. It's early. Everyone's got to earn it. Earn it? What more could Shedeur have done? He commanded camp. He led successful drives with the second team against elite defenders. He built chemistry. He exhibited leadership. He checked every box. Meanwhile, Dylan Gabriel, who, lest we forget, was drafted 2 rounds earlier, looked tentative, uncertain, and rattled. But instead of facing the obvious, Stefanski doubled down. System fit, representatives, timing. He ignored the results. Now that Shedeur is bound for New Orleans, the real story is surfacing. Sources say trade conversations with the Saints have been happening for weeks, long before reps were skewed, long before the public caught wind. Why? Because the Browns never intended to develop Shedeur. They saw the media firestorm. They felt the fan movement. They watched the rise of a quarterback, not of their choosing, and they panicked. In Cleveland, the organic rise of a franchise quarterback is threatening because if you didn't handpick him, you can't control him. And in this city, control is currency. The Browns have a long, tragic history of mismanaging quarterbacks, drafting them, ruining them, and pressing reset every 2 years. But this hurts more because this time they had the guy and they let him walk. Now let's talk about the Saints, because they saw the storm brewing in Berea and moved like assassins. They studied the tape, they listened to the whispers, they believed the hype, and they acted. New Orleans is sending a second-round pick with performance escalators that could turn it into a first. And let's be real, with how Shedeur is trending, those escalators are practically guaranteed. Why? Because unlike Cleveland, the Saints actually want him. They're not asking him to wait. They're not stashing him behind mediocre placeholders. They're bringing him in with a plan. Do you know how rare that is for a rookie quarterback? And that's the dagger for Browns fans. Not just that Shedeur is leaving, but that he's walking into a better situation, one built for growth, support, and success. Shedeur felt like the beginning of something special. He brought swagger without arrogance, confidence without conceit, and a sense of genuine hope, not built on highlight reels, but on execution, leadership, and presence. And now that hope is headed south, wearing a Saints jersey. So what now for Cleveland? Good luck selling Dylan Gabriel as the answer. Because from this point forward, every snap he takes will be judged against the specter of the quarterback you shipped out. Every bad read, a told you so. Every interception, a meme in the making. Every press conference, a PR minefield just waiting to explode. And if Gabriel falters, you're back at square one. Except this time, there's no Shedeur waiting in the shadows. You sacrificed all that for comfort, for control, for a system fit. And that is the real loss. So what's the takeaway? If you're an NFL franchise with real talent on your roster, don't suppress it. Don't bury brilliance under outdated coaching philosophies. Don't sabotage your future to protect your ego, because every once in a while, a rare player walks through your doors and demands your attention. Not with noise, but with production, with poise, with proof. And when that moment comes, you have two choices. You either make space or you make headlines. Cleveland chose the latter, and Shedeur Sanders, he's not just changing teams. He's about to make you regret it. A future without Shedeur. Let's call this what it is. This wasn't just a trade, it was a surrender. A white flag waved by a franchise too insecure to embrace greatness. This was a message to every analyst, every fan, and every player watching. We're not ready for that kind of excellence, not yet. Because Shedeur wasn't disruptive, he wasn't a diva, he wasn't defiant, he was just better, and the Browns couldn't handle it. Inside the locker room fallout now, the locker room is fractured. Veteran leaders, guys like Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, David Njoku, had already begun quietly viewing Shedeur as the guy, not because of hype, because of energy. Because of the way the offense moved with him under center, the urgency, the rhythm, the belief. Receivers ran sharper routes, linemen dug deeper, the huddle had purpose. And now, those same veterans are staring at the coaching staff like, you really expect us to rally behind Gabriel after watching him struggle against the same defense Shedeur torched? That's not just a hard sell, that's a complete collapse in trust. The younger players, they're silent, because they have to be, but they're watching, they're learning, and what they're learning is dangerous. Lesson 1, it's not about performance. Lesson 2, it's about narrative control. Lesson 3, shine too bright, and you might get dim to protect the plan. That's the real culture being built in Berea right now, the Gabriel dilemma. And now the spotlight falls directly on Dylan Gabriel. This isn't his fault. He didn't ask for Shedeur to be traded, but he benefits from it, and everyone knows it. And that creates a brutal reality. No matter what he does, he's playing from behind. Not behind on the depth chart, behind in the hearts and minds of the locker room and the fan base. Every off-target throw compared to Shedeur's precision. Every turnover, a social media firestorm. Every post-game presser, haunted by questions like, would Shedeur have won this game? Would the offense look sharper with him in the huddle? Gabriel isn't just playing for his job, he's playing against a what-if that the Browns created themselves. The front office spin machine. Now comes the PR spin. The Browns are scrambling, painting this as a win-win, claiming they did right by the player, that they gave him a better shot in New Orleans. Please, you don't trade a player you believe in for his benefit. You trade him because you're afraid of what his success would mean for your blueprint. because if Shedeur stayed, he was going to win the job, and you knew it, and that would mean admitting you found your franchise quarterback in the 5th round while wasting premium picks on players who can't deliver. So you hit the eject button, not for the locker room, not for the culture, for your own comfort. And now you're trying to convince the fans that this broken plan is still intact. Meanwhile, in New Orleans, Saints fans are waking up to something rare, hope, because they just stole a potential franchise QB for the cost of a 2nd-round pick in Cleveland's insecurity. And they're not wasting time. Reports say Shedeur will be gradually integrated into the offense over the next few weeks. But make no mistake, they didn't trade for a backup. They traded for their future. They saw what the Browns refused to see: a calm, cerebral, NFL-ready quarterback with elite processing, leadership, and upside. And unlike Cleveland, the Saints had the vision and the courage to build around him. Shedeur Sanders wasn't just a 5th-round pick. He was the type of player you build a franchise around, not someone you bury beneath outdated schemes and fragile egos. Now he enters a new chapter, a city ready to embrace him, a fan base starving for a leader, and a coaching staff that views him not as a flashy flyer, but as a weaponized future. He's walking into structure, not suppression, support, not skepticism, and for the first time in weeks, he can breathe. The Browns, their reputation is spiraling. This move didn't just cost Cleveland a quarterback, it shattered their credibility across the NFL. Players talk, agents talk, coaches talk. And right now, they're all asking the same thing. Why would a team jettison the best performing rookie quarterback in camp? The answer, not football, not strategy, politics. It's about controlling the narrative. It's about protecting the plan. It's about preserving fragile hierarchies instead of nurturing talent. And this kind of dysfunction, it metastasizes. It makes free agents reconsider. It makes rookies wonder if talent even matters. It makes veterans question their future the moment they don't fit the blueprint. A gut punch to the fans. For the loyal Browns faithful, this wasn't just a bad decision. This was betrayal. After years wandering the desert of quarterback purgatory, Mayfield, Brissett, Watson, Keenum, pick a name, Shedeur felt like real hope, not hype, not headlines, just actual football hope. And instead of backing that spark, the front office snuffed it out. Why? Because they were terrified to admit they were wrong about who their best quarterback really was. And fans, they don't forget that kind of cowardice, and they rarely forgive it. This wasn't about the cap. This wasn't locker room toxicity. This was ego, plain and simple. Unless Dylan Gabriel morphs into Drew Brees overnight, this trade will haunt Cleveland for years. The legacy of what was lost. Let's fast forward 2, maybe 3 years from now. Shedeur Sanders is lighting it up in New Orleans, running a Sean Payton-style West Coast attack, stringing together wins, maybe even leading a playoff push. And back in Cleveland, you're stuck explaining how you let a franchise quarterback slip through your fingers because he didn't fit the structure. A structure that, let's be honest, has been crumbling for over a decade. You don't explain that away. You just pray people forget. But here's the reality. They won't. The true cost: Cleveland didn't just lose a quarterback. They lost trust. They lost momentum. They lost their best shot at rewriting quarterback history in Shedeur. He's taking that composure, that precision, that gravitational presence, and bringing it to New Orleans. The Browns may have believed they were trading away a backup, but in truth, they shipped out the most electric force this franchise has seen in a decade. This wasn't just a trade. It was a mutiny against logic. An act so irrational, it's hard to decipher whether it stemmed from raw panic or that familiar Browns curse grabbing the wheel again. So what now? Let's zoom in. This isn't just about Cleveland or Shedeur. This is about the future of player development in the NFL. Welcome to the NFL's new reality. This isn't 2006 anymore. This isn't the league where rookies sit for years behind washed up placeholders, just to earn a headset. Today's NFL is a results-driven crucible. And the rule is simple. If you win in camp, you play. Shedeur didn't just win camp, he owned it. He checked every box. Mental fortitude, check. On-field leadership, check. Locker room respect, triple check. Production, tape, presence, case closed. And yet, Cleveland ignored it all. Why? Because he wasn't supposed to win. Not as a fifth-round pick. That's the poison of outdated football ideology, the delusion that draft status determines destiny, that a safe conservative game manager is more trustworthy than a dynamic field general with actual command. Thank you guys. See you tomorrow.